James from GameFront, and I'm joined with Chris, Gilbert, and Eric Lepinen. That's my best attempt. Was that pretty good?
Lepinen. Yeah.
Lepinen. Awesome. From Rainbow Studios and THQ, and we're taking a look at Monster Jam Steel Titans. Hi, Chris. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for making it. So let me kind of give a little bit of background about Rainbow and what we've been doing and kind of where we've been and kind of where we're going to. So Rainbow's been around for 24 years. As everyone kind of knows, THQ in around 2012, 2013 started to acquire and then kind of reboot a lot of these different game franchises. MX vs. ATV, which is kind of our bread and butter, as well as of course Darksiders and more recently of course Destroy All Humans. And so in 2013 we kind of rebooted Rainbow Studios, and we started by finishing a game that THQ had canceled, which is what became MX vs. ATV Supercross. And then after that, we moved on to developing MX vs. ATV All Out, which was the first brand new game on brand new tech, and kind of a reboot of the studio in proper form, kind of getting into what led to the development of Monster Jam Steel Titans. So for those who don't know, Monster Jam is these big stadium events that have been going on for a long time, where you have these monster trucks, where you can see the monster trucks are all over the show floor right now. And it's part of this kind of fan culture of the different trucks and their drivers and them doing stunts and the personalities of the different driving styles. And so there's been a history of Monster Jam video games, but this is the first time that a studio whose kind of legacy is off-road racing games has gotten to make a really serious attempt at delivering people the product that they deserve. And so we've taken everything that we've learned from MX vs. ATV and we've put it into this game, which is Monster Jam. And something else that I want to kind of briefly touch on, because this is something that we're just now announcing today at E3. When we started this project, we made the decision to ban crunch in our studio. And so we delivered this game on time, on budget, and without crunch, which is the first in our studio's history, and we hope is the pattern of development for many years to come. And we feel very strongly that not only do we have an ethical obligation to eliminate crunch, but that the reason that we were able to make this game on time and the reason that we were able to deliver the game with the kind of quality that it has is because we didn't crunch. Because we gave people the time and we knew up front that we were going to try to do this in a better way. And so we didn't want to start talking about these efforts until we actually had the receipts, until we actually had the game that was proof that this can be done. But this is it.
That's great. I honestly got out of the development side of video games. I don't want to say what company I worked for, but my longest day was 27 hours. And I said I would never work in that again. Now, a different side, but that's a huge thing. I don't think people realize how much of your life you sacrifice when you work in video games.
And we're here because it's our passion, right? And so we're already inclined to really commit ourselves fully to that work. But when the industry not only expects, but is kind of structured around this kind of unsustainable and, to be honest, abusive relationship with its staff. I mean, I've been in the industry for 17 years. I've worked at various different AAA developers, and it kind of always works that the game is always late and you always crunch, right? And when we decided up front that we weren't going to crunch, we started realizing that there was all kinds of other things that benefited from that. We were able to actually plan our work better. We weren't having to compensate for everyone panicking at the last minute, and we knew up front, that we weren't going to be able to compensate for problems by working late, so we had to actually communicate. And it's led to all these other healthy developments within our company. And this game is really the first iteration of us putting this to practice and not just saying it. And learning from this and then feeding that forward into our other products is a big part of what we're trying to do at Rainbow right now.
That's awesome. I love the fact that you guys are taking into account the humans working for you.
I mean, we spend so much of our lives making video games. It has to make sense for us as human beings. And then with that, we have to be able to do something that makes sense for our customers, right? And the reality is, I think that when we are happy devs, we make better games. And we have happier fans. So it really is the way that it has to go. And we're very proud that we're able to deliver this game at the show today and to have that story behind it and to start the conversation about what it's going to take to make this the norm in the industry going forward.
Yeah. Cool. So, what are we looking at today?
Yeah. So let's get into the actual gameplay. So, one of the things that's kind of the hallmark of Rainbow Studios off-road games is that we try to make games that are both accessible to more casual players, especially younger audiences and people who aren't really your hardcore simulation racing fans. So we want it to be something that they can pick up and have fun, but we also want to have a lot of depth. because we want for the core audience, for the people who are really into the racing and really into, in the case of Monster Jam specifically, the sports and the trucks. We wanted to have the depth there so that it was interesting to them and actually had some real gameplay like potential, right? So that they can feel like they can have the experience they're looking for as a driver of these gigantuan vehicles that are essentially like the astronauts of the like truck world, right? Like you don't get to just drive one of these things. The people who do this were like trained over many years. They're athletes. We feel very privileged to be able to have built a game around this, but also to have gotten to go to their training compound and talk to their drivers and iterate with Feld, who is the company that runs Monster Jam, to do a fair treatment to this. And you know, it doesn't end here, right? I can't announce anything at the show, but we're going to be continuing to work on Monster Jam stuff for a while because this is something that we're passionate about. We know there's a passionate audience for it, and of all the Monster Jam games that have been built so far, very few of them have managed to successfully provide both the core racing experience and to have some of the other more fun gameplay stuff, which we'll get into here in just a minute. So, with all of that said, we have a couple of different handling models. So our studio is famous for having twin stick racing, right? So on MX that means that you control the rider's body with the right stick, you control the bike with the left stick. In Monster Jam, it means that you can control the front axle and the rear axle steering independently. And this is a thing that the actual trucks do, which is critical to how they handle and the kind of stunts that you're able to do and like how the strategy and technique of becoming a driver kind of develops over time is managing those two things. And of course you can do single stick mode where we kind of intelligently do the rear steering for you, but we also have the depth available to you as you get into the actual game. And something to mention, so something to show like you can do what's called essentially truck strafing, which is called crab walking in Monster Jam parlance. And it allows you to use that four-wheel steering to do things with this vehicle that aren't possible normally, right? It's one of the most fun parts of this game is being able to use these huge, crazy vehicles to do just totally ridiculous, crazy stuff, right? And part of the way that we've approached that is the physics model in this game. You know, when we're doing stuff like we're doing wheelies or we're doing stoppies or we're doing backflips or getting the truck up on two wheels, none of this is like scripted animation events. This is all driven by the actual physics system. And it's something that this is our first attempt at. Right? This is going to continue to evolve over the years and something that we're really invested in continuing to not only make better for Monster Jam games, but to learn so many lessons from approaching it this way and continue to also use that to improve our MX vs. ATV franchise. So, one of the things that's really fun in this game is that you know, you can drive around, and so we have things where you can do stunts, we have things where you can do racing, but even if you get the truck like on its side, you're not done. You can still manage to pop the truck back up on four wheels. You can do what's called a power out, where essentially, let's see if we can get this set up here. Oh, Eric's too good, so he's going to get it back up on four wheels again. But you can use the power of the truck to get the truck to do stunts. Here we go. So he's going to power out right now. Boom, right?
Now, this might sound silly. I remember doing stuff like that with RC cars as a kid, but that's something that they can do with real trucks in the real world.
That is how it works. And, you know, when you're doing things like the freestyle stunt mode, right, or two-wheel skills, you're stitching your combos together with stuff like that, right? So, you know, you might do a big combo and you might be like, as it's burning down, like trying to measure that risk versus reward thing. And if you get up on the side, you can still use your mastery of the truck's physics to like pop it back up on four wheels and like continue on with your stunt chain or take it to the bank. And we wanted to really do the work to build a physics system that was going to support that we could continue to evolve over time. So with all of that, we've also added a bunch of new tech to this game. So we have destruction tech now. So we've always been kind of known for our terrain deformation, right? So in all the Rainbow Studios games, when you drive around, you actually carve into the dirt. And it's not just an aesthetic thing, and it actually persists, and it impacts the physics. So that as you're like racing on a track after a while, you know, you'll get some berms built up, and it evolves the gameplay. But for Monster Jam, we added a bunch of other destruction technology as well. So Eric, head over to the crush cars here. Just showing off the terrain information. You can see it kind of carved into the dirt right there. So we have crush car deformation technology, so you can see that you actually crush the cars. We made panel destruction technology for the trucks themselves. And when we show you the outdoor environments later, we have environmental destruction now too. And these are all things that we built for this game that are going to cross-pollinate over time to all of our products. So, you know, as we make the Monster Jam games better, it's going to help make the MX games better, and they kind of feed back and forth. And actually, MX came out in the beginning of last year, and just a few weeks ago, we released a new patch called the 2.6 patch, which completely overhauled MX vs. ATV and put it on the latest version of the Unreal Engine, helped performance, added 4K support, redid a bunch of the art assets, and a lot of the work that we did there was lessons learned from Monster Jam, and we didn't wait till the next game to get that to our audience. We took all that work, focused the team, and then immediately got that to our fans. Didn't ask any money for it, delivered some new tracks just along the way because we had already done the work, because we have so many passionate people that want to do this stuff, and we're going to continue that kind of cross-pollination, right? So that having Monster Jam doesn't take away from the MX games, and having MX doesn't take away from Monster Jam. Both of the games kind of fuse together with regards to our knowledge and technology to help us do a better job for all of our fans, regardless of what the particular product is. So, kind of moving on from here. So we have a bunch of trucks in this game. So we have, in this first iteration of the game, we have 27 trucks, and we also have some unique pre-order vehicles, some gold versions that are the unique pre-orders, and we also have some DLC vehicles planned as well. We tried to find a mix, so there's so many trucks in the history of Monster Jam. We couldn't put them all in the first game, and we wanted to focus on quality over quantity, especially in this iteration of the franchise. So what we tried to find was a mix of people's favorite trucks that are still active in the sport, that they kind of know and love and really want to have been waiting to drive. We know that we couldn't satisfy everything. Sorry to the person that I know is waiting for a particular truck that we haven't gotten to yet. We'll do our best to get there, I promise. But we also tried to throw in some throwback stuff. So for instance, Gravedigger the Legend is a great example of a truck that's not really active currently, but has a lot of love from the fans.
It's probably the only truck I know of. That's if I know it, it's got to be one of them that's popular.
Yeah, exactly. So this is something that, again, will continue to evolve over time, right? And we wanted to make sure that the stuff that was there, we did as good of a job as possible. So we're going to take you now into...
Can I ask... I'm seeing it right now. I was going to say, is there a difference between performance of each of the vehicles? And there is.
So that's not... So the trucks, the handling model of the trucks is the same for all the trucks, right? Because even in the event, they're built on roughly the same platform, right? So they want that to be consistent. However, we have different kinds of events, right? We have freestyle events, we have stadium racing events, and outdoor racing events, and arena racing events. And not only can you kind of level up your truck as you kind of progress through the content of the game, and level up your driver and unlock additional upgrades to different aspects of the vehicle, but also in each of the main game modes we have, you can see here, there's an arena configuration, a stadium configuration, and a freestyle configuration, and that changes little nuanced things about the handling, because in freestyle you want a truck that's really loose and nimble. It's a little more unstable, you really wouldn't want to race with it, but you want to be able to get that power and get that instability to do the flips and make cool stuff happen. But when you're in a race, right, and especially an outdoor race or a stadium race, you want a truck that's going to hunker down a bit, it's going to be stickier to the ground, it's not going to be as bouncy. And so what we've done is, in free ride modes, you can select any of the handling styles, but in the actual event modes, we pick the one that's appropriate for that, to make sure that we still, again, we have the depth of gameplay for our advanced players, and we also have something that's simple and straightforward for our more casual audience, so they can just get into the game, drive, have it work well, and have a good time.
Cool. Okay, I don't want to. I have a feeling you're going to show me some of the racing soon.
Yep, we're getting there. So this is Monster Jam University. This is where you start the game, and just like in MX, you go to the title screen, you hit A, and then you're driving. Right? We don't want to throw you through a front end and make you figure out a bunch of menus. We want to get you into the game and driving and having fun as quickly as possible. And so, Monster Jam University is where you first get dropped, and it's this kind of big outdoor environment that you free ride in that unlocks over time as you progress through the content of the game. Excuse me. So the cool thing about this environment is it's also a place to practice and a place to kind of explore and to provide a different kind of gameplay to a wider spectrum of our audience. That's not just the let's get into the races and let's just do that, right? So we have that, and that's a big part of the game, but we also wanted to provide some different experiences that aren't possible normally in a monster truck, right? You're not going to have the ability to in real life, they're not going to race these trucks out wheel to wheel in outdoor environments. It's too crazy, right? But it's a video game. We can do that, and we can actually make a lot of really cool experiences around that. And in previous iterations of Monster Jam games, they kind of really went one direction or the other, right? They were either like a really trial-style game where, you were trying to do stunts and clear a course, or they were like arcade racing, or they were like pure racing. And in this game, we've tried to like have a better synthesis of like the different kinds of gameplay, which are all like totally valid approaches to how people want to experience driving a monster truck, and to satisfy that in a way that's like more comprehensive, right? And not just like one aesthetic for how you should drive a monster truck and then to call it a day from there. Something else about Eric, can you go back in real quick? Go back to no, just go back where you are. Yeah, thank you. So here you can also see some of the grass destruction technology that we've added. So you can crush grass. There's buildings you can drive through. There's Easter eggs hidden all over in this place where you can like break through stuff and get collectibles. So this is something that we hope people are going to have a lot of fun just exploring. And it's something to mention that I think is extra relevant right here. So on PS4 Pro and Xbox One, this game supports 4K. It also has split screen.
Oh wow!
So you can do 4K split screen in this game and like sit on the couch with your friend and like do like the destruction game mode, the free ride, and actually like go explore these environments together, which we think is going to provide for some really good, some kind of unique gameplay situations that like we really haven't gotten to explore before in a Monster Jam game. So we can move into the racing stuff now. So this is the list of different event types. We have a career mode as well with like series where you actually like continue to unlock stuff. Some of these events are the official events from Monster Jam. You'll see that they have this Monster Jam Authentic badge in the lower right corner. The truth is that the way that they do these events in real life is structured for a stadium event, right? So we wanted to make that possible for people, but we also wanted to extend on that to have some better gameplay opportunities. And for instance, if we go to head-to-head racing here, and let's take them to Arlington. Yeah. And so you'll see this event link. So official, that's the official events. That's just one lap and you're done, right? So we wanted to provide that. Normal is 3 laps, and then we have an extended mode as well, which has
4 or 5 depending on the track length.
Exactly. So it's kind of time boxed so that you have a certain type of length of driving versus just like one and done. So let's go into the normal event. Yep. And one of the cool things as well, like I was saying, is that because we just drop you straight into the game, we don't really have a front end like you have in most video games, right? So from any point in the game, whether you're in a race or whether you're in like the open free riding, you can hit pause, you can go in and you can select an event and a level and a truck at any time and go straight into that. Again, because we wanted to get you to the kind of experience that you wanted to have as quickly as possible with the minimum barriers to entry. So you can see also that like the actual like events are themed based on the trucks that are participating in the race. Something that happens as well in the official events from Feld. And this is a recreation of the actual tracks that existed in the previous season. So we got that stuff from the actual events or from Feld, and then we recreated those tracks to the best of our ability in Monster Jam Steel Titans. So I'm gonna kind of let Eric take a couple laps around. We've done a little bit of work as well to like kind of augment the experience with some indicators to help you like see what's going on. Obviously, the real world drivers are like professionals; they know exactly where to put the truck at all times. But yeah, we wanted to make a fun game experience. This is our first person camera, and so this is something that Rainbow has spent a lot of time perfecting. MX vs ATV has a like really sophisticated first-person camera. Is something we're quite proud of, something that we're still enhancing and adding new technology to, something I'm hopeful that we can start to talk about soon. And we've done the same here in Monster Jam. And all of the stuff that you see here is actually how the trucks work in real life. With regards to the gauges, with regards to what his right hand is doing, that's the rear steering activation. So that's all hooked up to what you're actually doing. Same with the pedals down below. And this is what you'd expect. You'd be able to go into a stadium and have a race just like a professional monster truck driver.
Yeah, that's completely unique. I had no idea that that's how you would control the rear. I was wondering how they controlled both sets.
Yeah, that's how it works. It's fascinating. And the people who, the drivers of these trucks, they're athletes. I mean, they train relentlessly for a long time to be able to pilot a vehicle like this. And, it takes some real intention to try to, like, even like simulate or have a facsimile of that experience in the format of a video game. And it's something that we've done what I think is a good treatment to here, and something that we're going to continue to evolve over time.
Have you gotten this into the hands of any of the athletes?
Oh yeah, they were actually, the driver for Gravedigger was here at the show yesterday playing the game. And we've been working continuously with Feld. Like I said, we sent a team of people to their training compound and actually recorded audio in the vehicles as they were driving, both in their compound and in one of the actual races. We've talked to the drivers and gotten feedback from them. We've continued to work on that to be able to arrive at something that we're confident is a fair treatment to the franchise and a fair treatment to all the fans that have been really wanting a serious attempt at a game like this for a long time. So the way that the racing works also is it's like a bracketed tournament, but we have a lot of other modes too. Eric, can you pull up the menu real quick? Circuit racing is another racing game mode, but this is in the outdoor environment on a longer track. Go ahead and go back up, Eric. Go back a level. So we have rhythm racing, which is another similar timing, how you can cruise through the track and hit the jumps. This is something that's kind of a callback to MX versus ATV. We have a Waypoint race, so let's take you into this real quick. Go to Crestview Rally. These are big overworld races through the outdoor environment that we have. So you kind of find these little waypoint nodes and you kind of cruise from one to the next, and it's a great way to explore the environment, but it's also a way of experiencing driving a monster truck that first of all can't exist in real life because it's too dangerous, but also hasn't really had a video game treatment like this in the past. And we've had a lot of fun in all the game modes, but Waypoint in particular is my personal favorite because it's like a mix of the racing, but also the outdoor exploration, and it's a little more freeform, right? So you can choose your own line through the world, and you can kind of learn the world as you're going through the race. So you can see he just got a perfect start, which is pretty impressive. And then
on today,
right? And kind of see us, we're chewing through all the grass. And so you just kind of race through the big overworld here and have fun driving monster trucks. I mean, that's the whole point after all. We have a few other event modes as well. Eric, would you mind bringing that back up again? We have a freestyle mode. That's where you're going to be doing stunts with the truck, so doing flips, getting the truck up on two wheels, chaining them together in combos, and trying to, get the best score from the judges, kind of like you do in real life. We have two-wheel skills. Two-wheel skills is very, go up real quick, Eric. Two-wheel skills, also an authentic event type. This is similar to freestyle, but you have to have at least one stunt in the chain that gets you on two wheels. So it's not just enough to do a bunch of flips and stuff. You have to get the truck up on a bicycle or do a stoppie or a wheelie, which adds a little bit more risk reward to it. We also have, and this is super fun. Eric, bring us up to time destruction. Can you go into go to Vegas. So in this mode, you just break stuff. So we have, for each of these environments, first of all, for all of the levels in the game, you can also free ride them as well as doing the actual event type. But in time destruction, the goal is essentially to break as much stuff as fast as you can. So as you're breaking stuff, you're building up a combo, and then you have to keep breaking it or your combo will expire. And in split screen, this is especially fun because not only are you both trying to get as much stuff to break as possible, you're trying to break the stuff so your buddy can't break the stuff, right? So it's like a race to go for the chains of objects and stuff like that. And this is also a great place to show off all the destruction technology that we added in this game. Let's see, did we get the roll of toilet paper? Yeah, there's a random chance of ejecting some toilet paper from the porta potties when you blast home with the truck. Part of the cool thing about giving this game some time to develop and breathe and not going into that classic go crunch cycle is that we got to add some artistic flair to this game. We got to actually have fun making it. It's not that it wasn't hard. Every game is hard to make, but I think, and I don't just think, I really feel very strongly that having a better way of developing games really lets us be better game developers and do a better job of building these things for our customers. And, this is a game that it's done when it comes out, right? We're not rushing for a massive day zero patch. I'm sure that when the game comes out that we're going to get community feedback, and just like MX, we're going to iterate and continue to enhance and improve the game. But this is a game that we finished in time because we wanted to give it time to bake. We wanted to give it time to live with it and make sure that it was the thing that we really wanted to give everybody.
Cool. So one question on difficulty in the races is it a static difficulty or is it an adaptive difficulty? For instance, if I'm in last place, are they going to slow down and let me catch up?
It depends on the difficulty mode that you select. In the easier difficulties, we have a little bit more of that like adaptive dynamic stuff. As you get into the harder difficulties, they're just going to drive as fast as they can, and you got to keep up with them. And AI is a thing that we're always continuing to improve. The latest MX vs. HCV patch brought in a lot of the AI improvements from Monster Jam, and that's one of the reasons that the AI has improved so much. The future of Monster Jam will include also like us developing that tech for both Monster Jam and MX and continuing to evolve it. There's nothing I can really announce about that right now, but in this game it is adaptive until you get to the harder difficulties, and then like it's just they're going as fast as they can, so it's up to you to try to like not get left in the dust.
Cool. And how many players is the maximum that the game has?
So simultaneously it's 2 human players, right? So it's like, split screen co-op. There's no online in this installation of the game. And then in the outdoor races, it's 6 trucks at once. So it's like up to 2 human players and up to 5 AI if there's only like 1 human player. And then in the official event modes, like head-to-head racing, it's 1 truck. You're essentially each truck is on its own ribbon, right? Because in the actual event, they don't want the trucks to run into each other. So it's 2 trucks simultaneously over a tournament bracket.
Cool, awesome. Well, I really appreciate your time. Thanks for making some time for us here today.
Of course,
it was fun seeing the game. When's the release date and what systems are they coming out?
So it comes out on June 25th for PC, Xbox One, and PS4.
Great, thanks.